We are live, so hello and welcome to another episode of Loose Canon. This week we are going to be talking about the Lucent Tales, which is a new lore book that you should be able to go and get. If you haven't gotten any of, you should be able to go and get them all right now. There's like 10 lucent moths all around the throne world that you just go pick up. And then just like the penguins, just like uh the rabbits, that's super blurry. You can't even see it. I don't know what the hell happened with my camera. It is bugging the shit out of me though. Um you have to pick them up and then drop them off behind the area behind Finch. And they like tell you where to go. Um yeah. How is that? How have your weeks been?
Good.
Good to hear.
What was the name of the topic we're doing today again?
We're talking about the Lucent Tales. That's what they're called, right?
Woo!
Now you got me. Now you got me concerned that I'm calling it something different.
No, you're doing it. What was it called again?
I Lucent Tales.
Woohoo!
Oh, okay. I cut you off. That's a good one.
All right.
That derailed me though. So yeah, this week we're covering the lore book Lucent Tales, but we have a lore card, right?
Yep.
So why don't we get into that?
Okay. All right. So this lore card is kind of a complicated one, but I made it. I simplified it for the show.
Hmm.
Last week's lore card actually was Bel Air, but it technically was not like a lore card by lore card standards. It was, a ghost ship or a ghost, and it was just kind of put out there in jest. But this one was the week before, so if you're keeping up with lore cards, I'm gonna butcher it. Uh, it's to Kelly Lee.
Hmm.
It's a hunter ornament for the Star Eater boots that you get. The exotic hunter boots that I don't think many people use them. Honestly, I don't hear people talk about them all that much. Um,
Oh, these are the Star Eater scales?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, people still use them, but especially because of the Void 3.0 changes, it's like you're it's better to use Mobius Quiver Orpheus rigs than it is to use Star Eater scales because Star Eater scales requires you to pick up orbs and have them ready for your the consumption of boosting the damage, whereas Orpheus rigs just gives you
yeah,
another
yeah, yeah,
volley
yeah,
always.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Which is odd.
yeah, I
What?
mean,
Why? Why would they? Anyway, why would they do that?
well, they made Orpheus rigs, and so originally it was Orpheus rigs extends the deadfall anchor on what used
Yeah,
to be the top tree, and it gave you like three more arrows in your Mobius quiver. But now that it's volleys, it gives you a third volley. And
right.
so it it used to not be prioritized over Star Eater Scales when it was individual arrows because Star Eater Scales was more efficient in that sense. But now, and actually, I don't even think you would use it on a Night Stalker class like before Void 3.0. You would use it with something like actually no, you would, wouldn't you? Because you'd probably want to use Celestial Nighthawk.
Yeah, because I
The,
mean, Celestial Nighthawk is so much damage in one shot. I mean, instead of sitting there spamming Golden Gun, I don't know. It's a, it's a weird one. Orpheus Rig was like all I used when I got it when it first came out because of the amount of orbs
mm-hmm.
that you would get and just being able to get your super back so fast.
Yeah.
but
Oh
then they
wait,
nerfed it.
no, not Orpheus Rig. Did Orpheus Rig give you your super back? Is that what it was?
When you would kill, the more kills you got, the more super energy you get back.
Oh,
And so when you would use Orpheus Rig originally, with all the people that you anchored, if you
yeah.
killed them all, you would get just a ridiculous amount of orbs,
Mm-hmm.
so much
Mm-hmm.
that you would get almost your entire super back, and you'd like have maybe one, and then you could pick up another orb just by getting a double kill, and then you'd have your super again. You could just start over,
Mm-hmm.
rinse and repeat. So if you were using a gun that dropped orbs and you were using Orpheus Rig, you just pretty much got your super back every time.
Yeah.
Originally, when it first, but then they nerfed it.
You know,
So
there's a
go
lot of
ahead.
overlap like that with exotics where it's like, oh, this one gets you your super back, this one helps you do more damage and stuff like that. And so I've been playing Elden Ring, and they don't have exotics. They have talismans, which are just like add-on things. And for a
Yeah.
lot of builds, there's like, oh, use this talisman, it gives you plus whatever in all your stats. And I wonder if Bungie would ever go down that path with an exotic
Ooh,
where it's like no matter
gives you
what,
plus that.
yeah,
Yeah.
no matter what the stats roll on this exotic, you have like a plus 20 intellect, right? Like where it's like, holy
Yeah, yeah,
shit,
yeah,
this
yeah.
exotic covers your intellect stat. It's worth it to just
That's not a bad idea because like for all the exotics that get like glossed over, that don't get used as much, if
Mhm.
they had more of a like a plus whatever to their not used usability, maybe people would use them more. Like Foe Tracer.
Yeah.
When was the last time you used that thing?
I mean, I didn't even. I liked the look of it, and I used it like in vanilla D2, but that was really it, just for the look of it. And
Yeah.
thinking about it, maybe that would be a pretty lame exotic, but remember they were talking about like exotic masterworks for armor, like
Yeah.
having like an
Yeah.
addition. Like there you go. Like you
Sure.
your foe tracer, your standard hunter exotics will probably want to be giving you more mobility. Some of them want to be giving you more melee. Some of them want to be giving you more grenades. So that should be an exotic armor masterwork achievement where it's like curated for the exotic. So you take your lucky
Right.
raspberry. This will give you not plus 20 because that's ridiculous, but this will give you plus 10 discipline. This, no matter what the stats are, you get an extra chunk of 10 discipline.
Yeah, I like the
And
sound of that.
same thing
Yeah.
for
That
Shinobus,
Yeah,
you
that would
know.
be great. Yeah. And then like even if you don't particularly enjoy the exotic much, there's more of a usage for that
Yeah.
particular exotic. Like Aeon
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I mean
Well, I
those
mean,
things are just
yeah.
all three of you, if all three of you in a fire team use them, it's ridiculously good. But
Mhm.
like when was the last time people used that?
Oh, I mean, again, people started using them again after the change because it made it a little bit more worth it. But
Hmm.
yeah, not
Okay.
many people.
All right. Well,
Back to
derailed.
the point of this segment.
So Star Eater scales when it first came out, I had no idea like what that meant other than because not even the lore card really, I mean, not even the lore really explained the name of Star Eaters other than the darkness and some entity is out there, and there's this particular individual on a ship just adrift in nothingness that we know about on the Star Eaters scales lore, which
Hmm.
is it's a good card, but it basically at the end of it, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like this is my story, and that's all it'll ever be because I'm out here just abandoned nothingness. So whatever. That's kind of the feeling I got from the story of it. But I'm glad that this ornament came about because it kind of helps round that out or sand off the edges because now I kind of get it. If you look at the to Kelly Lee, I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sure. Um, if you look at the ornament, there is visual cues. Um, there is like these merman faces, but then at the top, you can almost make it out. it's a side profile of Cthulhu. And I was like, well, why
Mm.
Cthulhu? Why, what does this have to do with Tekeli Lee?
Because
Like,
everything needs Cthulhu. No matter how they have to
right?
shoehorn it in, everything is better
Right.
with some Cthulhu.
Okay, so here we go, right? Here goes the deep dive. So Tekeli Lee is an exclamation of woe and suffering. It means God is angry. Originally, it was from Edgar Allan Poe's The Narrative of A. Gordon Pym. The title of that book is ridiculously long. Like, the title of that book is so long, it does not fit in a Twitter post, which is hilarious. So people just call it The Narrative of A. Gordon Pym. Um, it refers to the omen like noise a bird in the polar land of Salal makes, some area in Salal. But there's this bird in that polar land that makes this noise to Kelly Lee. It was later used by H.P. Lovecraft within the Cthulhu mythos.
Hmm.
So here we go, right? Um, this is it's important to bring up Edgar Allan Poe because the origin is necessary to understand like what the heck to Kelly Lee is from. The narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket by Edgar Allan Poe. This book was a departure from Poe's previous works and is still used today as a literary lesson, and that's very much true. So, if you're a writer, if you're somebody who does storyboards, all that stuff,
Hmm.
part of your lessons and studies and whatever education you went through, this book is a big part of your development because they use it as a literary device to show um, whatever they're trying to show, like teach you basic, story developments and stuff like that. And we all know Edgar Allan Poe was the deep, dark poet that wrote really creepy-ish, kind of dark poems that kind of got you at the core, right?
Hmm.
But this book is ridiculously long. It has an insane amount of adventures that go on, and it has nothing. It has like no familiarity with what Poe ever did before. And I'm assuming that this was his like attempt at becoming a novel story adventure writer or something. I don't
Hmm.
know, but at the end of it all, you kind of understand uh, why Poe did this, and so um, the Arthur Gordon Pym is a character in this book. He's kind of like the Indiana Jones in the character in this book. Um, but the tale is of Arthur Gordon Pym and his many adventures, which also inspired many later day authors. Pym is a stowaway on board a whaleboat, and everything goes horribly wrong. Some of the many scenes are cannibalism, the evil of men, mutiny, death, and disease. It was written as if it was a diary that was handed to Poe at the last few chapters, and the last few chapters are torn out, leaving the reader with no resolution other than to assume Pym Poe's identity. So what does that mean? So basically, the book is all about Arthur Gordon Pym going on these crazy adventures, but Poe presents the book as being a collection of diary tales that was handed to him, almost like Pym gave them to him
Hmm.
for him to share with the world, and he made a book out of it, right? But then at the end of the book, you're kind of left to feel like, oh wait, this is Poe. So Poe wrote this book so that people would get involved with the story of Pym, only to discover that Poe and Pym were the same person
Mm.
at the end. And you have no resolution at the end of the book because the last pages are missing.
Well, that's fun.
Well, what's really messed up is like it's almost the biggest rickroll because you have this long, drawn out, like ridiculously slow. I wouldn't recommend anybody read this book, by the way. Ridiculously slow story development that goes on and on and on and on. And at the end, he's like, nah. You know, it's just like, nah, you get no resolution. So it's almost like the biggest Rickroll joke of all, which I like in a way.
Hmm.
Um, so that's Poe. So that's where to Kelly Lee came from, was this particular book. Um, to Kelly Lee is derived from the call of the white birds that flock around what is heavily implied to be a cosmic horror that resides at the South Pole. And there's like even drawings of it, and it's crazy. It's basically depicted as like death with a sigh and a white cloth that's veiled over them. And even the book from really a long time ago looks like the darkness statues that we see with the veiled statue. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
It's funny because like there's some parallelism here. Um, Go ahead.
It makes me wonder because there needs to be something beyond Destiny, right? Like beyond the
Yeah,
light and dark, not beyond Destiny.
yeah.
Um, and it makes me wonder. Bungie's philosophy has always been like, oh, we're going to plant these seeds and we're going to see if they grow. And I wonder if this could be one of those seeds.
Or it could be nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be like Poe as Pym, and he tears the last 3 pages out, which is hilarious to me because I feel like Bungie, over the course of their entire history, back catalog of games, have done that to us. Every time they switched to a new franchise, they just left the last one. I don't want to say unresolved. They just left it like, what? Where's the rest? Where's the end? Where's the conclusion?
Did Halo not have a conclusion? I honestly don't know.
I mean, it's still going, but
Well,
no, it never really had like a conclusion.
okay. I mean,
But
not.
Halo's a bad example because when Bungie left Halo, they pretty much left it. They screwed it up before they left it because when they did Halo Reach, they no, I'm serious, they really did. When they did Halo Reach, they diverged from the canon, and that's why so many people got upset. A lot of
Oh,
people got really mad with Halo Reach because Halo Reach was supposed to be like the prequel to all the Halos,
uh huh.
and there were already books written. There was already canon and lore developed as to what happened before you started playing Halo. And when they went back and did Halo Reach, they were like, nah, no, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and they just rewrote some shit right before they left. And so a lot of people got really mad
Yeah, you can't do that.
because, yeah, I mean, they got mad. And so that's why there's always been this like tear amongst the Halo community, is to like, don't touch the cannon, that kind of thing. And I get it, but at the same time, I'm more on the entertainment side. I like to just digest and have fun, and I don't take it as seriously as a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm more in that camp than like an aggressive, like, how dare you
yeah,
adjust this?
yeah,
You know, I'm more in
yeah,
as long as as long as it's fun, as long as it's
yeah,
enjoyable, I'm on board with you
exactly.
making some changes. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
same here. And but with Destiny, we've seen they've learned from a lot of their past mistakes. They've got a backdoor out of every scenario, and
Yeah.
so and it's all perspective now. So they've got like this perfect canon
But see,
lore
it's like
architecture.
you can't just say like, oh, well, that was just their perspective and they were wrong. You can't fall on that time and time and time again,
Sure,
you know? Like,
it
sure,
wears
you
out.
have that for the occasion. But
Yeah,
don't just fucking lie to me and be like, nope, cuz that's also not good.
yeah. So and I didn't mean to bring that up to like dig at Bungie or nothing because I love the
Yeah.
people. Half of Bungie stayed and made 343. I say this all the time when we have the podcast. Hell, you'd think this is half of a Halo podcast for how much I talk about Halo. But um, just to bring it up because people fail to acknowledge that half of the Bungie people stayed and made 343 and they're still there. And there's a
Mhm.
whole bunch of new people at both Bungie and Halo that weren't there. And so all I'm saying is take it with a grain of salt and stop being so hard on people that are trying to make an entertainment
Yeah.
for you. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. Like you read a book and that's how you read it, and then you go see the movie, and the movie sucks.
No, 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 no,
That's
no, no,
that's
no,
not
no.
fun. That's not fun. I get it, but this is not the same.
Okay, well, here, let me just ask really quick. Are we through the lore card? Because I'll take it off the screen.
No, we're just about to get to the actual part of it,
Okay, then
but it's quick.
I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. Let's get
Okay,
into
well,
the
wait,
lore
hold it
card.
to the end. Hold it to the end,
Yeah.
because we're about to talk about H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so H.P. Lovecraft used this as inspiration for his and only true appearance of the Shoggoths. In this story at the Mountains of Madness, a
Hmm.
mysterious white figure appears at the conclusion of the tale, where it is uttered by Shoggoth. Shoggoth cried, Tekeli in the tongue of the natives that live in Antarctica. Tekeli is used as an exclamation of woe and suffering. This led to our popular depictions of and representations of modern day Cthulhu mythos. Shoggoth can morph and take any shape. And this is from the book. It was a terrible, indescribable thing, vaster than any subway train, a shapeless congeries of protoplasmic bubbles, faintly self-luminous and with myriads of temporary eyes, forming and unforming as pustules of greenish light, all over the tunnel, filling front that bore down upon us, crushing the frantic penguins and slithering over the glistening floor that it of its kind had swept so evilly free of all litter. And so that's from H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. And so people took that whole thing and created Cthulhu out of this. So if you ever wondered where the depictions of the octopus crazy, monster looking thing with all the eyes, this is where it came from. And so Cthulhu mythos is very much uh, this is the origin point.
You said that was from the Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, at the Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
actually
that's the
have
book.
yeah, that doesn't sound familiar, or it sounds familiar, but it also doesn't. There it is, At the Mountains of Madness, 723. I have what is it? The complete fiction of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, rad. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's one of those Barnes and Noble like hardcover reprint deals where it's like
Yeah,
it's bound in that like special style and all that nonsense. I mean, like, fucking worth it
sure.
because it's like $25.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
cool.
I haven't read it in years. I haven't like
Hmm.
reread it in years, but I am a big fan of the
Lovecraft.
Cthulhu mythos. Not
Yeah, and a lot
Lovecraft
of people
himself. Fuck
are.
that guy.
Yeah, a lot of people are. And what's funny to me is how much it's grown from
Hmm.
basically this one instance of a Shoggoth
Yeah.
mentioning a slimy creature cascading down the mountain and had this like tentacle like eyes formed, all this stuff. And then people took that depiction and just ran with it.
Hmm.
And so, anyway,
And
that's that.
just really quick on the topic of Lovecraft, or yeah, on the topic of Lovecraft, if you have access to HBO Max, everyone should watch Lovecraft Country. It is fucking amazing, and it's a shame that it's not getting picked up for a season two.
Oh, man.
And like shout out to Jonathan Majors who played the main character. He did a fucking amazing job. It was so good, and I don't want to say anything more than that for
Sure.
anyone who hasn't seen it because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's an intense show on multiple levels. Like
Okay.
it it
Sounds
takes
cool.
it takes place uh, a number of decades ago, and so it's not exactly the nicest time.
Yeah.
So I guess
Well,
trigger warning on that for some people who like aren't ready for extreme racism.
oh boy.
Yeah, it's some things I never knew about, and I was like, I can't believe that was ever a fucking thing, and that's horrifying and haunting in its own right.
Just triggering, huh?
Yeah. Like
Well,
aside from the Lovecraft-esque monsters and magic and all this stuff and old gods themes woven throughout, it's just like, yeah, and here's the real world back then. Isn't that
oh
even
man,
fucking worse? And it's like,
yeah.
yes,
The
yes, it
sometimes
is.
truth is stranger than fiction. To wrap all this up in a bow, when we got the Curse of Osiris weapons, and
Hmm.
they said the ending of the Eldritch race,
Oh yeah,
and
no, we're getting it.
yeah,
We're getting some Cthulhu and fucking Destiny. We absolutely
we
are. Yeah,
are. So the people that wondering, like, where were these Eldritch people? Now we're kind of seeing that unfold with the Hive, and how they're coming to an end because of the light, and there's no more Hive, no more worms, no nothing. So I'm really interested to see where they continue with that.
yeah.
So there
All
you go.
right. So let's get on to the
Lore
lore book.
cards are
I
always
never
so
know
crazy.
how to transition. We
I
need
know,
better
they're just
transitions.
nuts.
What were we? Oh no, never mind. That was something different. Um, so the lore book
Yep.
Lucent Tales, as I mentioned earlier, you can get it by
Woo!
finding. That's a Ducktales reference for anyone who's not getting it. Um, you get this book by finding the Lucent moths all around the throne world. They were time gated, but I don't think they're time locked.
Yeah,
Whereas you can go get them all right now. Did you miss a week? They're still there. It's not rotation time gating.
yeah.
Which did you hear? I have to say this. Did you hear what they fucking did to Shattered Suns?
No.
So Shattered Suns, and I hope I hope everyone listening got it. We talked about it, and I think when we talked about it, they had fixed it already so that you
Yeah.
can't just go into the
Do the
raid and
cheese
do it
part.
one
Yeah,
one
yeah,
one
yeah.
one one. Now you can't even do it solo.
Huh?
Yeah, you have like the only way to do it is you have to have assuming you have the 5 totems from the preservation mission done. You have to do the raid 5 times and have your teammates help you to get it. Like not the whole
No.
raid, just the beginning of the
Right.
raid. You can
Oh,
literally just
okay.
go in with a buddy and do the same thing. But now instead of it being like, oh, well, it's a Sunday morning and my friends aren't on and I'm just killing time, I guess I'll knock this out. Nope.
It's
You
a
get
slog.
it's a slug and it's a stupid slug because all it's walling you from is getting a ghost shell. Ghost shells don't do shit. They just look cool. It's not,
I
it's like,
especially, like we said last episode, especially now when so many people have it. What's the
yeah.
point? Just give it to everybody. Let
Who
everybody get it.
who are you protecting with this? Like, I'm sorry, but this is
The people that
ridiculous.
cheesed it. I mean, who are you protecting?
Yeah.
Jesus, so dumb.
It is like
Of all the things to fix, that's literally like the
it is. It's and it's like I try not to be I try to be like critical without being an asshole. This is
yeah,
fucking like why?
yeah.
It
That makes no
harms
sense.
no one to let us farm it.
It's over.
Yeah. So I
They
hope you
should have
got it.
just left it.
Yeah. That's kind of a thing with the lore. What like um occasionally lore will have these time gates and people will figure out how to cheese the time gate and then Bungie will fix it and it's like, okay, well we cheesed the time gate because we just want to get it done.
So
Like it's
right,
here, it's on the internet. It's people who have done it every week, day week by week by week by week have already finished it. The
right,
in the intended finish date has been passed. Who cares how we get it
right.
now?
I know.
So it's rough. But yeah, this one is not that case. I wish they were all like this. I'm perfectly fine with being like, you get 2 entries a week, and then it's like next week you get 2 entries again. You missed the first week, go get them. They're right there. Week after you
Yeah.
get 2 entries, or even if it's 1 entry, you get 1 entry the week. Next week again, and so on.
With
I
the just real quick with these moth butterfly things, my wife and I just found them all organically without even using any kind of guide or looking for them.
yeah
Just running around, having fun playing the game. My wife is really good about like seeing everything and hearing all the little jingly noises.
Uh-huh.
Me, I'm in my own world. I don't know what happens. I just tune out or whatever. But we found almost all of them except for the one that is supposed to come out on a lily pad.
I'm
So that's
not.
the only one I haven't gotten yet.
I think I missed a week or two, and I
Oh,
haven't actually completed it, so I haven't seen that one. But from
okay.
I've definitely gotten like 3 or 4 weeks of them. So
Okay.
from the weeks I've gotten, I would say all of them could be found pretty organically. The
Yeah.
only thing that would stop you from getting them is that you've already gone through that area and explored that area, and then the moth is
Yeah.
available. And it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
if I could have picked it up on my way through the first time, I would have had it. I'm not
Would
looking
have
over
had it.
there
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Um,
Wasn't the one in the what's it called? The well encounter, the thing, the
oh,
wellspring.
is there's one in the wellspring?
Yeah, isn't that what it's called? There's like one on top of a door inside one of the rooms on
I
one
know
of the
there's
wells.
a what the fuck is it? The rifts that you have to shoot.
Yeah,
You shoot the ground with the parasite grenade launcher, and then you have to close the rift by shooting it. There's that in the wellspring. I'm not sure if there is a lucent moth in the wellspring as well.
yeah. I'm pretty sure there is because when we were in there fighting on top of one of the door things, my wife jumped up there and she was like, "Oh, look, a moth!" And like we're getting
Oh, well then yeah,
destroyed.
absolutely. There you go. Then we know there's one. But
Anyway,
yeah, so this book is interesting because back in D2 we actually got a book like D2 Vanilla, we got a book called Ghost Stories, and each story followed a ghost and their experience with their guardian or without a guardian, however it went. And this one's kind of similar. Each entry is named after a ghost, so you have just to run through them. Pikmin 303, Krill, e- Ulok, Finch again, Spectre, and Imaru. And so each one follows the perspective of the ghost. And it starts out with ghosts who are kind of like resentful to humanity. And then it transitions into ghosts who are aligned with the hive. And
yeah,
obviously Finch, who has his own special
yeah.
spiel. So it's a really interesting book because it offers an insight to the hive getting the light and also to why ghosts were even up for that in the first place. Like we've had, I think it's actually in Ghost Stories. There's an entry where a ghost is looking for their guardian and they scan this pile of rubble and their guardian's there. Their guardian is under the rubble. And the thing under the rubble is a fallen captain. And they're like, "Oh my
Oh
god."
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
They're
that.
they're like horrified at the
Yeah,
thought of resurrecting this fallen captain, and they're like, "But I have to do it. It's what's
yeah,
guiding me here." And they resurrect the guardian beneath the fallen captain beneath the
yeah.
rubble. And
Uh,
so not all ghosts are like that. And so your first one is the first one here is Pikmin, and Pikmin is a bit of a pretentious asshole. He's very high and mighty with his speech, and like he says, "I speak not as some superstitious provincial afraid of the dark, but as a ghost well versed in language of suffering." And he's basically
he likes
looking
his
down
coffee. He likes his coffee like he likes his thoughts.
bad.
Yeah,
And he's basically looking down on the ghosts who are resurrecting Hive. But the real interesting thing with him is that at the end he says, "I shudder at the ease with which my comrades ignore such basic logic. This is the Hive, disciples of that unholy church which laid our Creator low. They struck for its heart and shattered a roaring conflagration into 10,000 motes flickering in the wind. In their fervor, they played midwife of a sort to guardians, to ghosts, to me. Cause and effect, legacy. Is that what my fellow ghosts see? Why it feels right?" Then, with their foundation of logic, what is my hesitance except some provincial superstition? Which goes back to the
Yeah.
beginning. I speak not
Yeah.
as some superstitious provincial afraid of the dark, but as it goes well versed in the language of suffering. And so it does offer an interesting kind of take on events where it's like,
Yeah.
why were ghosts created? Well, the hive came to the soul system and started to attack, and the traveler pushed everything back with the light. And then in that dying breath released the ghosts, which created the
Right.
guardians.
Yeah. The and here's the like text that we do acrobatics over. It's the ghosts were created out of the traveler's dying breath. And so ghost being created is like an ambiguous statement.
Hmm.
So like even ghosts have like a mysterious origin point.
Yeah.
Still do. Anyway.
Um and so we move on to the next ghost. And I this is an interesting ghost because she's an actress, but she ain't got no need because she's got money from her parents in a trust fund back east. This is 303, and she's a ghost. She's a ghost who flies around with a group of other ghosts. Did you get that one?
Yeah, I did.
I
Yeah, this
just
is a
feel
good
like
one.
they had to have been making that reference, right?
Had to have.
Because
There's
that's
no
such a
other.
specific name.
I like when they do stuff like like
Yeah.
like
And then
404.
where's another one? There was actually a fucking another one that got me. Was it? Did I mark it? I don't think I marked it. God damn it, I didn't mark it. There's another one that felt like another song reference, and I was like, what are they doing? Who's writing this book? But
Well, the first one you were talking about, I was sitting there thinking like, who is this person they're talking about in from their life that they met and
yeah,
decided to throw in here?
yeah, that is a person the writer knows. Like they're like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Steve, I fucking hate
absolutely.
this guy.
Yeah, that's emo Steve.
But so
Ugh.
in actuality, 303 is a ghost who searches for their guardian in a group of ghosts, and one of the ghosts in the group, L, finds their guardian, but 3 isn't pleased. She resents humanity for failing to defeat the darkness the first time. And so there's actually a pretty heated conversation. Paris goes over to 3, and uh, they're like, oh, Trill, not L. Trill's found her guardian. Come congratulate her. Anger flared, white hot. Congratulate. Are you? You know what? Fine. 303 swiveled back toward the impromptu celebration and raised her voice. Hey Trill, congrats on abandoning us all. 3. What? I'm so happy for her. I'm not resentful at all about the fanatical devotion to dead humans, the species who couldn't stop the darkness the first time around. 3. This isn't the time. When is the time, Paris? When are we going to start asking questions? Why did we just arbitrarily decide to dedicate ourselves to these squishy creatures forever? They aren't fit to hold the light. 3. Can't you at least be happy for us? Pearl's voice was soft. 3 didn't respond. This was the way this is the way we form a bigger family and serve a larger purpose. That's what it's all about. But maybe if after all this time you still can't share that with us, Elle paused. She'd often come so close to saying this, but always back down before, then maybe you shouldn't search with us. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There
Kick
are
rocks, fool.
yeah, and that's kind of the
Shake the
thing.
spot. That's cold.
That's kind of the thing that like Osiris was like really questioning about, like, why do ghosts
Yeah,
pick the guardians they pick? It like is the traveler fallible? And it's like, yeah, clearly they are.
absolutely.
They've
Yeah.
created these ghosts who will pick
Well,
idiots.
you know, um, so. I can't find it now.
Well, describe it.
And I was trying to find it the other day, and it bothered me so much, but then I just gave up. Do you remember in the lore the depiction of the inside of the traveler as these hanging?
Oh,
Do
go
you
on.
remember? Okay, so there were like these and I'm gonna use the wrong words that they used in the lore to describe them, but it was basically talking about what the inside of the traveler looked like with the floating um what we would assume would have been the ghost entities that were hanging in there, all a part of the collective inside of the traveler, and it was just describing that warm feeling of being in there, and almost like womb like, but with uh hanging entities. God dang it, where is it?
I do
Anyway,
not remember hearing or reading that ever. I'm sorry to say
so
that.
now I can't find it, and a lot of times when that comes up in lore or something reminds me of that in lore, I feel like I somehow jumped from one universe to another because now I can't find the damn thing,
I think you
and
might have.
I know it existed.
I'm
I know
sorry. I
there's
don't think it
something in the
does.
lore. There was something in the lore
The
originally back in D1.
the only thing I remember about being the inside of the traveler is that it smells like vanilla, and that was from
Yeah,
Circle
but
of the
even
Lost.
that you can't find specifically that other
I
than,
can
you
find
guys,
that. The
you can
one
find
mask.
vanilla.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I can find
Yeah.
the mask that says that. But
Yeah,
that's all
yeah.
there is to find.
Right. But why do we think, okay, so why do we think the inside of the Traveler smells like vanilla? Well,
Because that's what Fenchurch said.
yeah, exactly.
But this one that you're describing, I've never read.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is going to kill me.
I'm sorry, I just never read it.
Dude, what was the lore with Empyrean Bellicose? It was talking about the Vex, wasn't it?
Yeah, Imperium Bellicose was talking about the floating gardens of God damn it, I was really trying to
Blah,
remember
blah,
it
blah.
without
Yeah.
having to look it up. Floating
Because we got that
gardens.
one after the one that I'm trying to find,
Pomona
and I can't.
Mons.
Yeah, Pomonomons, which
Yeah,
is the mountainous range on what
yeah.
you call it, Venus.
Yes, Venus. So
Yeah,
the technology, this barely understood Golden Age technology, once held aloft the floating gardens of Pomona Mons. Now it's stopping bullets.
yeah.
And yeah,
Anyway,
nothing about the Traveler though.
I know. I'll find it one day,
I hope you do
but
because it's interesting at least.
it kills me every time I hear something that reminds me of that lore I can't find anymore.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling because I experienced that too, where I'm like, I know this fucking existed.
Yeah, it totally did, and it's not exactly how I described it.
Yeah.
I'm making peanut butter out of the peanuts.
All right. Well, so the next ghost is a ghost named Krill, and they were named that because in their first exchange with their hive knight, they claimed they were as small and useless as the weak pests that the hive evolved from. Which is pretty fucked up. Like this thing revives you.
Yeah,
You were dead.
way to go, jerk.
Yeah. Their knight was a I'm not sure actually I'm not sure if they were a knight. Either way, their hive was named Ubartu Anna, and they were
Yeah,
sick. Sorry?
yeah,
Oh, okay. They were sick, suffering from growths across their body, and after several biopsies, their ghost uh, made an incision in one of the cysts, and a winged arthropod made mostly of energy came flying out of it. And so when I first was reading this, I was thinking like, oh, is this like a new hive, a new dark power, like these growths, thinking about
right.
the things we've seen on Prestige and stuff like that. But when it mentioned the winged arthropod and then it goes deeper, saying confirmed the winged arthropods, despite their energy structure, also contain hive cells. I theorize hive physiology, unaccustomed to light exposure, is attempting to isolate it like an infection. Light structured as it is, organizes the discarded sebum within and forges it into imaginal cells, kickstarting a sort of hollow metabolism. Incredible. The hive's own bodies transform light into a parasite. What a wondrous adaptation. So that's the things that come flying at us and explode.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah. Which, I mean, of fucking course the hive would do that, right? Like, who the hell else would?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really thinking. I had it. I was like commenting on it. I was like, oh my god, like growths that spawn creatures that we control. That'd be so cool. And then I realized light into a parasite, and I'm like, yep, those are the fucking. I don't even know. Or do they actually have a name? Those little fucking pixie things that come flying out.
Lucent moths,
Are those also called lucent moths?
aren't they?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Because there's a bounty to kill them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. You're
kill
right.
the
You're right.
lucent
You're
moth.
right. Yeah, I fucking hate those things. They are such a pain in the ass.
I love the game mechanic though. That's fun because it's like one more thing to make your chaotic, encounter more difficult or whatever. You've got to
Hmm.
like manage these little exploders because they'll catch you off guard if you're sitting there like zoned out, just funneling bullets into, some baddies, and then all of a sudden these your like health is getting down to just a sliver, and you think, oh, I can make it, and you try to duck around a corner, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't even know that they're coming for me until I'm already dead.
My wife's a Titan, and she like plays exactly like a Titan, and so I'm constantly shooting the moss off her back
Mm,
around her. Me, I'm the typical chicken hunter, back in the back with my scout or long range weapons, unless I just don't care.
yeah,
Go in with like an SMG.
you
But
don't. That's how
no,
you're supposed to be playing.
sometimes I just go in and just play like a Titan in a hunter suit.
Yeah,
But it's because of the invisibility. Because as soon as I'm about to die, I just dodge, run away.
that's another hurtful thing. Like I haven't played in a while, but I saw what they did with suppressing glaive, and
Yeah,
it's like why? It's a seasonal
yeah.
mod.
Just let it
Like
be broken for the season.
yeah, oh no. That was the point of seasonal mods, right?
Yeah,
To be a little broken because it's not going to be forever. And it's like, yeah.
right.
Yeah, cool.
It's fun for now.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
the next ghost is a ghost named Yulak who seems to be very fanatical because they're speaking to their hive knight. I'm pretty sure this one's a knight. I don't know. I just think all the hive are fucking knights, I guess. I'm not sure that this one's a knight again. But their name is Luzaku. And
yeah,
so Luzaku is a hive guardian, hive risen, light bearer, whatever the hell the term is, and they are fighting a regular guardian. And they kill the guardian, and the guardian's ghost comes out and revives the guardian, and then they kill the guardian again, and they grab the ghost. They're holding the ghost in their hand just like we do when we kill a hive ghost. And so the Ulok is telling them crush the ghost, end it, because if you kill it now, you'll be killing the potential enemies that you would face in the future, not just the enemy today. And Ulok hesitates, like curiosity, looking at the ghost, not sure what to do, and the ghost gets free, and Ulok or not Ulok, Luzaku hesitates, and the ghost gets free, and Ulok is mad at them. And so
yeah,
this entry kind of makes me wonder if it's supposed to be like a mirror to humanity who comes in, sees hive ghosts, and without hesitation, it's like crush. They're just going for it. And like I think it was Savathun who actually even said like, "I'm surprised you were able to be so brutal. Like you just without hesitation, you just killed a ghost." And it's like that is probably one of the few blasphemous things that are seen by the light, right? Like we're
yeah,
getting farther and farther away from the light with beyond light happening. um it's just we're accepting the dark, and it almost feels like that's why the traveler accepted Savathun to receive the light.
It took me so long before I finally crushed a ghost. I
Shit.
didn't have to. Yeah, I didn't have
Oh,
to
because your
because
wife.
yeah, she was just crushing them left and right. And I was just like, let me see how far I can go without actually crushing a ghost. I made it for like weeks. But then, the achievement popped up. It was like, you crushed so many ghosts. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, because
I
it's
didn't
like
touch any of
proximity.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that didn't work.
And then a ghost we all know and potentially like is Finch. He actually has two entries. And so Finch and several other ghosts felt the pull to Savathun's throne world. Is her throne world called the High Coven? I meant to look it up.
Oh,
Right? Because Oryx made the
I,
High War, and she was like, I'm going to make the High Coven.
yeah, I think you're right. I didn't ever bother to research that.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm pretty sure that's right. And it felt odd to me that we don't call it the Hive Coven. We call it Throne World or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a Hive Coven.
yeah. Savathun thought this was a great idea. She made a court called the High Coven. Ziva said, "The world is my court wherever there is war."
Um,
So,
yeah, Steva Wrath. She loves to make war everywhere. So anywhere she pushes her throne world would be
my court.
everywhere.
Okay, so Oryx said, I shall establish a court, and whoever comes into this court may challenge me. My court will be the High War. It will be a killing ground and a school of the
Yeah.
sword logic we have learned from our gods. So no, it's not her throne world, but it's a section of her throne world then.
Okay.
Or maybe not even a section of her throne world, because that would just be I mean, no, right? That's weird.
I don't know. Would it be because
Wasn't the High War that public event space that you use the runes, the Agronach rune and all that crap for
yeah,
in Taken King? Wasn't that the High War?
I think so. Yeah, because I thought that was created by Zivu.
No,
Or is
Oryx
that
had
the
the
court
High
of
War,
yeah.
and
But
Zivu, sorry,
no, go ahead.
Zivu didn't have a court because she was just like the world is my court.
Okay.
Odd. It would be interesting if we fought Savathun in the High Coven and like following that logic, like having a place where people can come challenge her. But either way, so they felt the call to Savathun's throne world, and when they got there, they witnessed the light surging across the place, beating back the darkness, and so that's an impressive thing to see. And then one by one, ghosts started to find Hive and resurrect them, and Finch is the last one, and he finds a knight, and this time it is actually a fucking knight. And he finds his knight, and he knew the knight was his, and he hesitates because he's like, but they're the Hive, like we shouldn't be doing this. But all the ghosts around him are just like kind of staring at him like, this is what the traveler wants. Who are you to question it? Like, this is what you're here for. And his
Right.
choice was basically resurrect this Hive knight or have another Hive knight kill him. So Finch decided to resurrect his Hive Knight, and it felt wrong when he did it, but it was too late. And so I shared my light. So I shared my light. Who wouldn't? A couple hundred of your closest friends bearing down on you, and a hive shredder waiting if you say no. I shared. I reached into him, touched something deep. And what he offered back, it wasn't light or dark. It was cold. It was wrong. And I knew it would fill up whatever empty cracks in me the light left behind. And I chose to make it a part of me. To be half of his whole. Sorry. I chose to share my soul with a monster. And the thing is, you can't be just part monster.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, you're either a whole monster or you're not a monster, right? That's
I
that's the logic he's
guess.
saying.
Yeah. You
I
can
mean
see
that
the logic. Everything. It's that's the fallible nature of creatures bound by the environment. They often choose one hard. example of the other. So it's either black or white. It's never many shades of gray make up the particular survivalist at that particular point in time. It's always got to be my side or your side.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't like a gray area. I'm just saying in this case, I agree with Finch.
Well, you're forced to.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to because what's your perspective as like a guardian?
Yeah. But sorry for yawning. Finch goes on. He has a second entry. Because now Finch has risen, killed a guardian, and then heard ghost. And this is like way too far for Finch. He felt it. He knew it was wrong to resurrect them. He did it anyway. And now they killed a ghost. The guardian's never coming back. The ghost is never coming back. And so he refuses to revive the Hive Knight when they die the next time. And while they're dead, the Knight actually can communicate with the ghost, saying like bring me back," which is something that we never knew before. That's kind
Oh,
of trippy.
yeah,
And so Finch doesn't understand how Savathun was actually seen as worthy for the light, but it's clear the Knight isn't. And Finch plans on finding out how Savathun tricked the Traveler. Like he says things like maybe it's just the obvious. I mean, the Hive don't accept gifts, they take. Maybe the Traveler was tricked. The end of some long con. The Traveler isn't just some dumb orb ripe for grifting. Gaul found that out the hard way. There's got to be more to it. I have to dig deeper. And if joining you damned me, well, hell, sounds like a good place to start. I'll find out how she did it. And I don't care how much you try to change my mind, you're staying dead. You hear me? You made me a monster, remember? Don't get to cry about it when I act like one. Which
yeah,
is a fucking great line from Finch, just like talking to this knight, being like,
yeah.
resurrect me.
No, no,
Yeah.
you sit there in your pit of hell.
Dude, you
Just sit
suck.
there, sit there and watch me help all these guardians come get bounties and deep sight tier
Yeah.
3.
I'm working with the light guardian now. And the human guardian now.
Oh, by the way, yawning scientists believe that yawning is connected to your brain overheating. So it's like turning on the air conditioner briefly because you're inhaling tons of oxygen to help support your overloaded brain. It's not necessarily a fatigue or tiring thing. It has to do with like just mental capacity being overloaded.
No, I think I'm just tired.
Well, it happens when you're tired too, because at the end of the day, it's harder for your body to keep up with keeping your brain cool, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the beginning of the day
Because
for
you're
me.
fatigued. Yeah. So I don't take
Um,
yawning personally. That's for sure.
yeah. There is an interesting line though, in this where Finch said, "You were the only one." Uh, let me start from the beginning. "I gave you a part of me. I let you make me worse so I can make you better. You were supposed to understand. You were the only one who ever could." So we still have this question of, can a ghost resurrect a second person? And in my opinion, the answer is no, because there are guardians out there who are like heroes, and all these ghosts who don't have guardians, why would they not just go, oh, his ghost
Right.
died,
Yeah.
I'm
Let
gonna
me
pick
take
up
that guy
the.
and say,
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me that a ghost can have a separate guardian. And
Yeah.
people love to throw that Curse of Osiris, not Curse of Osiris, that Osiris Pigeon and Phoenix lore book entry at me, where Osiris kills the guardian and then asks the ghost why they chose them, and they ran off, and Segura says he ran off to find another one. And the 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 guardian in question that Osiris killed did not seem to possess any powers of light. So
Yeah.
we don't know if they
Yeah.
were
Could have
risen.
could have just been there with him.
Yeah. It's like, hey, when you get hurt in fighting because we're using swords, I will heal you, living
Yeah.
person. How is that? Like we'll make this living person contract between you and me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
And then just see you later.
yeah. And who knows? Maybe the ghost could have risen them. uh, after they were killed by Osiris.
You know, it's funny. It's like Savathun's ghost is out there somewhere.
And so we're gonna get to them. But before them, we have Spectre, who is a ghost detective, which is
Yeah,
funny.
this is cool because it goes into the seasonal playing. There's just the fun part about the whole Witch Queen in and
Uh-huh.
of itself. The armor, the weapons, the lore, the fun running around. It's detective, right? You're a
Hmm.
detective. You're doing this, that, and the other, and all of the items are named accordingly, and
Hmm.
even the lore is written as if you're like a cop or a
Yeah.
detective or whatever, an agent out in the field investigating.
Yeah.
So
Spectre, as I said, is a ghost detective, and I'm pretty sure they have a hive. I don't know why they're not using the hive. They mark their days by calling them post lumination day. So it's post lumination day 17. So it's just after 2 weeks of Savathun getting the light. So if she got the light immediately, like if Season of the Lost ended and then Witch Queen began, and we're following real timeline 2 weeks after February 22nd, right? So you take
yeah,
it March 8th plus 3, March 11th. So on March 11th, basically, is what this is saying at 10:23 a.m. or p.m. because apparently they have fucking time in the throne world as well. That's something interesting. They arrive on the scene. The victim is a thrall, no identity. Cause of death: fractured neck due to blunt force trauma. Traces of light detected. Nabenki interviewed the primary suspect. I prefer talking to their own and don't respond to things, even things that bring them back from the dead. Overheard confession. Suspect is Knight, identified as Uruk Thalen, victim's commander. Reported that when his ghost detected light within the victim, Uruk Thalen executed him for theft, open and shut case. The next day okay, so it is 10 in the morning. The next day at 1:44, because they use 24-hour clocks. Um,
yeah,
Three more deaths fitting same pattern. Internal artifacts of light. Victims summarily executed, but circumstances raise more questions. Thrall don't partner with ghosts. Should be unable to receive or carry light. Nabenki tasks to investigate suspects in organized smuggling ring, potential human or fallen infiltration. At 2:57 same day, they encounter the thrall, no identification, classified person of interest 7. Tests confirmed traces of light. Benke applied standard hive interrogation techniques, extracted confessions after extended session. Person of interest 7 admitted to stealing light, keeping it in urns, also implicated a superior acolyte. Doesn't add up. uh at 7:12 same day, requested time alone with suspect to establish rapport. Nabenki hesitant, doesn't like being spoken to, unbidden but acquiesces. Person of interest 7 admitted to giving false confession in the end to end visceral hive interrogation. Claimed complete ignorance to the light's origin in its system when asked about unusual activity. Reported that his symbiote feels sated without need for bloodshed or tithing. uh, 20 minute
mm,
20 minutes after that, consulted Nabenki for context regarding tithing. Apparently, Hive functioned on a system of energetic kickbacks paid up the ladder, ending with Queen. Would have been useful to know earlier. Suspect this network may be impacted by introduction of light. Nabenki confirmed light exhibits a negative pressure within the system, maybe pushing trace amounts back through it. Have submitted theory to our commander for further investigation. Partner acknowledged me this morning, established eye contact, potential illness. This is the next day at 6:30 in the morning, and then at 7:42. On my recommendation, person of interest 7 executed for perjury, which is the funniest
yeah,
fucking line. Like they have a fucking court system in Seventh Throne World. Are you kidding me?
yeah. Executed for perjury.
Yeah, so I wanted to read that one because this was just like such an interesting style of lore entry.
Yeah,
Like we've never seen one like this, and it's a really fun one.
Yeah.
Um,
It's almost like evidence being presented at a court
yeah,
or
exactly.
in a, yeah.
And so there's a few things in this entry. The other week I mentioned how I was wondering about how hive biology works now that they've accepted the light. So hives start as a thrall and then they grow into an acolyte, and then the acolyte grows into either a knight or a wizard. The
Yeah.
third morph that we know of is the king morph, which obviously no acolyte would be permitted to taking. Um, but now we see, and I also asked if there were any thrall risen. We now see that thrall are just like not allowed to be chosen. There's like a
Yeah.
blanket ban on thrall, but that still doesn't answer what happens with an acolyte. Are they forever an acolyte, or can they still become a knight? And it's like the reason we don't see a knight using uh hunter moves is just for the simplicity of it. You know, okay, knights are titans, they
Sure.
use void. Warlocks are wizards or warlocks, they use arc. Hunters, acolytes are hunters, they use solar. Just keep it simple so people see
Yeah.
it. They say acolyte, solar, hunter, done. Like they can identify the threat, as opposed to acolyte. Well, it could be one of nine options, and I have no idea which one it's going to be today.
Yeah.
Um,
I always
so
assumed in the lore that the acolyte was the fork in the road for the hive, and
well,
so
yeah, they
once they
are.
became, yeah, so they can either be, wizard or knight,
Mhm.
depending on how they want to tithe for the rest of their existence.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if an acolyte is arisen, do they still evolve? Is their evolution now ceased because they have the light? Like I
Yeah, I
don't
guess
I
so. I don't know. It's funny though that like if you're trying to correlate it with guardians, it makes you feel like hunters are just like not making a decision.
I wouldn't look into it that deep.
I know. It makes you feel like if you're
Yeah,
trying to do one-to-one comparisons.
but the other interesting thing is that the thrall, despite now being a lucent hive, I'd imagine actually. Are the Lucent Hive only the Guardians? I thought the entire brood were Lucent Hive.
Yeah, it seems like they're all Lucent Hive because they have the Lucent moths that go
Yeah.
from one to the other. When you kill one, if you don't shoot them, they'll go to another if there's another nearby and imbue them with light.
But so in that case, this thrall still has his worm. It still has the symbiote, but it feels sated without the need of bloodshed or tithing. So
Yeah,
it's like Savathun no longer has her worm. We took it from her. But
yeah,
everyone else still has their
as
worms,
their worm.
whether
Yeah,
they're risen or not, it seems.
interesting.
Yeah. That's one of the things that like that really had me excited with this season. As I started thinking about it deeper, just like how do they work now? Like they
Yeah,
have the light. Like with humans, we have similar questions. It's like, do they eat? Do they sleep? Do they go to the bathroom? Can they have kids? Do they age? You
right.
know, like now different questions have to be applied to the hive.
Yeah. How do you poop?
I mean, do they? Did they
Do they
in
poop?
first place?
Yeah.
Because
Or
it
is it
seems
just pretend at this point?
I mean, it seems like they're if they're tithing, right? Is that not
Yeah,
they're pooping?
I guess they're
they're
pooping
poop
out tithe.
they're pooping up to Savathun.
I mean, we poop orbs.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
guess orb poop is everywhere. Motes of light. Remember motes of light?
Yeah.
Oh God.
And that brings us to the last ghost in this entry, Imaru. And so Imaru's this is like a really interesting take because we don't just see Imaru, obviously we see Savathun. And
Hold on to your butts.
so Amaru is like just watching Guardians kill Lucent Hive up from the wellspring overlooking Savathun's throne world. And it says he huffed and shuddered, trying to remember how to speak as he watched the Guardians' unprovoked assault in their ascendant plane. No better than scorn, he growled. Savathun turned from the honey-sweet music only she could hear and stroked her ghost. Ah, child, loyal as you are, you still only see their actions, not the chains that drag them to inevitability. Just as Hive must test, humans must control. And failing that, attack. You must not take it personally. Attacking the unknown is their nature. We ghosts ain't unknown, Amaru pulled free of her affections. We lived with 'em, saved 'em. Now they're ripping through us. Damn ungrateful, if you ask me. Surely you don't believe they're punishing you for disobedience. Aren't they? His voice was dark and hard, and he paused to recenter. Everyone, Fallen, Vex, even Hive. Every last one of them knows not to shoot. You don't shoot the medic. But nobody told these jokers, apparently. Your anger is understandable, the Witch Queen pulled Amaru into her embrace once more, and slowly his shivers of rage calmed. Humans fear death, and you were suckled on their teat. But the Hive know death as the unseen sister. It is she who welcomes you home to rest, and who allows you to egress when you prove able to take it. Amaru stared out into the silence at the distant flashes of battle. Sister or not, it's time we push back. We got anything they got? A ghost killer? The Hive
Eh,
uncovered such weapons long ago, but may have found them distasteful. I suppose we could recover the magics, but surely you and your fellows would see such tactics as an abomination. Amaru turned back to face the flashes of rifle fire on the distant shore. Not anymore.
yeah.
So, uh,
When
Savathun, go on.
I was just gonna say when Imaro speaks, it reminds me of some of the writings John Goff did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, got
that's so.
that western, plains gunslinger vibe to it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can kind of see that. What I'm more taken aback by is Savathun's take on all this. Like, she's not even
Yeah,
mad that we're killing Hive.
no, she's like whatever.
Yeah,
It's a part of the, but that's their nature. Like they kill each other constantly. It's just
but
it's
so
a part of it's a part of the look. It's a part of the whole indoctrination of the darkness and them saying, you know, what is allowed to survive is it whatever is at the end was allowed to survive by sheer brute force, right? It's the brute force of the internet or the universe. It's the thing that Tolan talked about in D1 Grimoire. It's the atoms, and just survival of the cell. And so she just sees it as like, yeah, it's a harsh reality, but it's a necessary.
do you remember?
It's cold.
Okay, Darkness 3. Um, okay, so what I think this is kind of implying, and it goes back up to the entry about Ulok and their ghost Luzakul, who did not kill the Guardian's ghost when they had the chance. So I think, and Baxter said he was gonna write something about this, but he still fucking hasn't. So now I'm gonna have to talk about it here, just a little bit though. So in the Ghost Fragment Darkness 3, of course it says, of course it might be that there was another country with other queens, and in this country they sat down together and made one law and one tower and one
Yeah.
army to guard their borders. This is the dream of small minds, a gentle place ringed in spears. But I do not think those spears will hold against the queens of the country of armies, and that is all that will matter in the end. And damn it, that's not. And then Zavala says, the dream of the city, its walls keep it together, its spears, the strikers are what keep it
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
And there's another one and I cannot remember where the fucking other one is. Because I could have sworn it was in So Good. Not a little bit evil.
Not a little bit evil.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my god, holy shit. A little bit of gray. Everyone else is so good that I can afford to be a little bit evil. Do you remember where that's from?
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, God darn it.
You'd think I'd be better at this by now. Okay, there it is. There it is. Here we go. It's from the book The Wager, or it's from the book Unveiling. It's the entry The Wager. And
Yeah.
they say, "Here I prove myself right. Here I wager that given power over physics and the trust of the absolute freedom, people will choose to build and protect a gentle kingdom ringed in spears, not
Yeah.
fall
There
to
it is.
temptation and not surrender to division, and never yield to the cynicism that says everyone else is so good that I can afford to be a little
Be
evil."
a little bit evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
came
so,
up in a tweet.
yeah. And so, that's the traveler's position on all of this, right? And so
Hmm.
Toland in Darkness 3 talks about the darkness's position and then ends
Yeah.
it with the traveler's position saying the traveler can't win. And
Right.
Zavala also alludes to that traveler's position as well.
Right.
And we are no longer the gentle kingdom ringed in spears because we are accepting the dark. We are lashing
Exactly.
out. We're doing
The queens
these.
of armies are in.
Yeah,
They're in our court. They're in our.
yeah.
They're in our circle of. What do you call it? Circle of.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with it.
They're in. They're in. They're part of the inner circle now
Yeah, like
because we have. Okay, we have Mara. We
mhm.
have Keitel, and now something or other. Something Savathun.
But more specifically, I think that Savathun, like in her plea to the travelers, she was like, "I'm going to build the gentle kingdom ringed in spears, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be so good that I will not let myself be a little evil." And we're kind of proving her right, and that's what she's holding here. That's the
Yeah.
power that she's going for here. She's looking at Guardians killing her people and being like, "What can you do?"
Yeah.
I just
I'm not
because,
going to fall for this. Yeah.
yeah.
You're
And
right.
and Amaru, ironically, is taking the opposite end of that, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess we can be evil, and but isn't that bad? Like Savathun basically said, I guess we can be evil, but isn't that evil? And Amaru's like, not anymore. And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Wait
Amaru.
a minute. Yeah. Come on, Amaru.
So yeah,
Yeah. It's kind of like it's just shedding a light on the hypocrisy
yeah.
of fighting for the light.
And I think I really don't think the light is going to win in the end. I But I also don't think the darkness is going to win in the end. I think that's kind of where we're heading.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Ulan Tan that made
Yep.
symmetry?
Yep.
And
Longtan.
and so I think that's kind of where we're heading, where we're going to define that neither dark or light is the correct path. Both are the incorrect path. And it's the path in between that is the correct path.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what the final shape will conclude.
Yeah. I think you're right because, it's all about ascension and the
Hmm.
wrestling between the two different, okay. So I go all the way back to D1 and I think of the yin and yang representations of the light and the dark and how early on in the lore they express to us that the the battle between light and dark is contained within uh, a vessel, right? And so, in order for that vessel to move forward, there has to be that conflict, that churning, that spinning motion of one following the other.
Hmm.
But the light and dark are not separate entities. They're a part of a greater. And so that greater is if you look at the yin and yang, what is holding it? What is holding it together? And it's that circular vessel that they reside within to move forward. And so there is an old um, saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's a Titan mark, and it's called ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you are able to ascend your physical realm, when you're able to ascend your body, your vessel, it is very much from the evolution of your mind and your spirit and your body becoming one. And the ability for you to ascend to the heavens is attaining ultimateness.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you get there? And it's by being at peace and symmetry within the universe of all of those competing forces that are just churning about. When you can accept and have enough knowledge to rise to the heavens, you become a part of, you don't become a god, you become a part of the god particle or the god being or the ascension into the next realm. And so there are stages of heavens, right? And so for you to ascend this mortal shell and to go on to the next, you have to learn all the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only way you're going to get there is with this battle, with this constant, struggle to survive, because that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So the final shape could very much be just, something Ulan Tan said that we just glossed over. He was woke.
And I don't mean to imply that he was exactly right. You know,
No,
just
no,
that.
because
Yeah.
he was a fallible creature just like we are. I mean,
Yeah.
he obviously saw. I mean, he obviously saw a semi nihilistic viewpoint.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else that you want to say on this topic?
Um, no, I think that just like I think it's interesting that we've gotten this far in
Yeah.
this because we got the ghost stories, which were like a Guardian perspective
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on with the light and the moral, the conundrums that we encounter, the blah blah blahs, the like writing. What is this? What is going on? Amongst Guardians and how they work and tick, and then we get this kind of like not really polar opposite, but we get this other perspective from another side of the coin, and then you get like Ghost wrestling with their morality or whatever. Like, am I the bad guy? Am I the good guy?
Mm-hmm.
Or are these the bad guys? Are we the bad guys? Who's the
Mm-hmm.
bad guys? Like, why does? And then you kind of have Savathun who has this like you know this other position that is above all that. She feels she's above all that, and
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of attained this knowledge that you know what, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter in the end. And like if you see other representations of that position, of that authoritarian position, that mantle of responsibility that Savathun has, Keitel has, even Zavala somewhat has, Mara definitely has, their viewpoints can seem very cold, but at the same time, they're taking on that mantle of responsibility in that authoritarian position where it's almost a necessary. It's a necessary. They're like they're taking the wheel of the trolley problem. And they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to make a decision that works for the masses that they represent. And then we're here as guardians wrestling with our own demons, or we are the demons
Mm-hmm.
in perspectives of other people, and so now we're kind of like collectively having to work with a lot of the people that we were fighting with.
Yeah.
And so we've embraced this whole other side of the darkness, and we're having to rationalize, why are we using the darkness? How does this help us? How does this change us? How does this define us as
Yeah.
a guardian? And I would like to see in the future, Savathun something something be a part of the Ring of Spears, and then it's very much us against what the witness represents, and then that ultimate collision happens, and then now we're all like, wow,
Well,
maybe the I would like to see more of this change that's happening.
so like it I guess I just kind of wonder because we have Lightfall and then we have Final Shape,
Yeah.
and those are the two bigs, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
I guess Final Shape isn't even the end of the Light and Dark saga, right? Because that would be a little ridiculous, wouldn't it? If it,
Sure.
or would it? Do Are they set up to go all out on like a big finish, Final Shape expansion? This is it. This is the end point of the Light and Dark saga right here. And then you have the following year kind of ease you into what comes after.
Like a whole
Or
nother thing.
yeah, like, so
Yeah.
like season, so like Final Shape plus that season is it. This is it. this is
Yeah.
this is it. And the epilogue, the season is the epilogue and the aftermath
Yeah.
of the Final Shape. And then the season after that starts transitioning you into what comes after Final Shape, and the season after that, and
Yeah.
the season after that.
Yeah. That would be cool.
And then it's post Light and Dark expansion time. Or
Yeah.
what I've always kind of felt they had to do with this setup, and actually maybe that's not true anymore, as I just described a potential. Um, Final Shape isn't the end; it's the following seasons that is the end. But I don't think that would work as well.
Mm.
Now that I'm saying it,
Yeah. See, a part of me just wants to believe that it's all going to bleed into some other game.
I hope it doesn't bleed into some other game, but I hope Destiny evolves into some other game.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I guess. That's what I mean, I think as fans and, the collective community would want to see is it evolve into something else, greater than Destiny, and become something else. Not necessarily abandon Destiny, but
Mm.
just become something else.
And
Um,
maybe actually, and this might be like a harsh thing to say. I guess a part of me almost hopes that, I know it won't be, but I guess a part of me actually wishes that it would be the end. That Final Shape would be the last expansion, and like, and that's it. This is Final Shape.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they've done that time after time, so it wouldn't be surprising, I guess.
But it's nice to get when shows, when books, when movies, when things, and I guess it's probably most prominent with shows because it's
Yeah,
harder to cancel a movie than it is to cancel a show, or
yeah,
it's harder to cancel a book than it is to cancel a show, I should say.
yeah.
When
Definitely a book.
Yeah, when a show has its end and they're like, this is our end, this is a hard stop, there is not going to be something after this, or maybe there's something after this, but we don't really care about that, or giving you an end, it's much more satisfying than when a show has like that, like ambiguous, like, oh, and it's kind of
Yeah,
just a season finale, and it, or even worse when it's like, oh, and we're going to have another season. Oh, we're not. That's the
yeah,
absolute worst.
yeah,
Like, god damn it. Infinity Train, once again, HBO, if you're listening, and I know that you are, give me more Lovecraft Country and give me more Infinity Train, or go fuck yourself. Because they're
and
amazing
that's our show.
because they're amazing properties that need better
Yeah,
conclusion, not better
yeah,
conclusions, need the conclusions they deserve. And I feel like Destiny continuing beyond Light and Dark kind of enters that muddy water territory where it's like, oh well,
yeah,
what is gonna happen? Like, I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because it's like, I part of me just wishes it could just be like, and it's over.
yeah. I get the feeling. Oh,
But yeah, what I was trying to say, we completely derailed. What I was trying to say is, Witch Queen Beyond Light had the big moment, right? Oh, the pyramids are here. We have stasis. Witch Queen has the big moment. Savathun has the light. Oh, what's happening? Lightfall. What's its big moment? Final shape. If it is the end, that's its big moment. But Lightfall is
Yeah,
this big question mark, right? Like, what the
yeah.
fuck is Lightfall going to do? But yeah, super excited for the future of Destiny, as we always end our show saying. Next week, our next show will be on the 24th of April. There are several books left to read: Acts of Mercy, Quintessence, Minimus, Minimum 9, and Martian Missives. So we have plenty to pick from. If you want a specific book, at us at Loose Cannon Show, you can get it. Same as the Twitter, or same as the show here on Twitter at Loose Cannon Show. If you came in late, you can find it on YouTube. It'll be uploaded shortly. If you don't want to watch, you just want to listen, it'll be posted everywhere podcasts are, even shorter than YouTube because YouTube takes forever to upload.
Bye.
Okay. Yep. Bye,
Oh,
everybody.
well, bye.